All right, so today we're here with Wave Weir, and we're going to be asking some questions about her new collection. So, what motivated you to take sustainability to the next step and own and operate your own fiber processing and weaving mill?
Well, it was trying to find the availability of fabric and yarn that I wanted. I had a fashion store where I had natural fiber and I was importing it. So I had sold it and returned to farming, did a lot of different things. And then when I returned, I was looking for sustainable fabrics from within my fiber shed and couldn't find them. So the next best thing is to make your own.
So, I want to know, what does ethical, environmentally, and socially responsible fashion mean to you personally and professionally?
Well, I want to know that somebody didn't die so I could have a $2 t-shirt. And so that's kind of the start of all of that. What are people paid? What are the conditions they work under? Is it local? Is it somewhere around the world? Are we supporting local economies? What's the environmental impact of what we're doing? All of those kind of things pile one on top of the other and saying, okay, what are the hidden costs and the questions behind what I'm wearing?
Can you tell us a little bit about the process of turning raw materials like wool into clothing?
So we start with raw fiber sheared off of a sheep, and it comes to the mill in its raw form. So we wash, we spin, we card, we separate, we pin draft, we do a lot of different things to it until we get a yarn. We ply that yarn together. Then we either knit it or weave it. With us, we use no chemicals except for some soap and a pH balance, so there's none of the toxins that are traditional in textiles these days, that there's no acids to wash out the impurities, there's no dyes, there's no finishing chemicals, that kind of thing. If we do use color, it is small batch natural dyeing where we're using plants and things like that.
What challenges have you faced in your mission to create clothing that's non-toxic, waste-free, and biodegradable?
It's availability to, I can do it myself. There's a lot of people spinning and weaving by hand and in small, guilds, things like that. But for the volume that I wanted to do, it's availability of the resources. Processing is really the bottleneck here well, almost everywhere in the world, but certainly here in Canada. We have a lot of wool, and we have now an increasing demand for wool, but there's nowhere or limited processing in between. So.
And what inspires your designs?
I just design for how I like to wear things. I design for me. Some designers would never have they wouldn't wear what they design because it's been for the runway or for somebody else. I just design for me. It has to be practical, it has to be comfortable, it has to last a long time. I change size and shape, so it has to grow and then shrink with me. It has to basically last forever.
What would you say is your favorite material to work with, and why?
Well, definitely wool, seeing I'm running a woolen mill. The qualities of wool are pretty amazing. It's comfortable, it's warm, it wicks moisture away from you, it's antibacterial, it lasts forever, and you can do very, very fine fiber next to skin. Every sheep has a different quality. So you can go here from Canadian wool, very fine next to skin, to outerwear, long wools give you something that's sturdier. Mohair gives you what we use it in socks rather than nylon. So there's a lot of different qualities.
What advice do you have for people who want to be both sustainable and stylish while also steering away from fast fashion?
So I often say, question everything. Absolutely question everything. Where does it come from? Where does it go? When I'm finished with it, what happens to it? And then change one thing. Because if we tried to take it all on, we'd be stopped in our track, because it's such a formidable task. So I suggest to people that they think about it, ask, question, and change one thing at a time. So once you have, okay, wear your shirts or whatever, or your toothbrush or your shampoo, whatever it is that you want to change, just change one, and then move on to the next. And so then eventually, you look in your closet and go, hey, wait a minute, it's not so bad.
Where do you see the fiber mill within the next 5 years?
Well, I see that definitely meeting a growing demand. A lot of consumers and people are realizing the toxicity of what we're doing and are looking for alternatives. So the demand is increasing. So I see the fiber mill growing to meet that demand, and my dream is to do the same with develop a bast fiber mill so that we can do linen here in Ontario as well. So to do what I'm doing in wool, in bast fiber. So hopefully we are in a position where we can supply a little more outlets, and so that more people have a choice.
Could you tell us a little bit about your newest collection?
So the newest collection, basically we start with the fabric, the fiber. And our weavers have been doing some incredible fabrics. And so I say, okay, let's try this. Let's make that a little heavier. And so then it's a co-creation that grows. And so we've got some really wonderful new fabrics. I've got some lovely white on whites, again, expanding on some of the things, that building on the foundation of the images that we have. Just fun stuff, big nomad coat, and we call it nomad coat. And it's made from an Ontario-grown Corriedale lamb, so it almost feels like cotton. It's a very soft, wonderful thing. So a lot of the what's happening in this line is based on, okay, this is yummy fabric, what do we do with it? And we're doing, starting into our knits, like our sweatsuits, our sweatpants, those kind of things. And we want to expand on that line of Ontario-grown knitwear.
And how do you plan on incorporating materials like wool and knits going into the summer season?
Well, wool traditionally has been a year-round fabric. You just do finer, lighter, it wicks moisture. The lighter, the whites, instead of pulling on a synthetic sweater, you would pull on some wool or have your shawl, a very lightweight wool shawl to wrap. So wool is actually, a four-season fiber for sure. It depends on the weight, it depends on the color, it depends on how you use it in what garment. Yeah, so it's just going to continue more of, and like I say, when I complement with linens, it works very well.
Okay, and finally, do you have any advice for anybody looking to go into fashion design?
Just go for it. I often get people say, oh, if only I, and if only I, and if only I. And generally, I didn't have any of those things. I just did it. I was just designing for me. I just was making clothes and thought, well, maybe I can do this for other people as well. If it's your love, just do it, because there'll be all the reasons why you shouldn't and can't. But if it's your love, just go for it, and yeah, just have fun.
All right, great. Thank you so much.